Today we're changing the transmission fluid on this 2017 Jeep Renegade. This is the Trailhawk trim level. This has the 2.4 liter engine, but our transmission is going to be a 9-speed, and you can check your transmission label towards the left of the battery and just behind. The second line up, 948TE is the transmission model code. If you have super long arms, you can leave the tire on, but for you shorter armed people, you will need to remove your front driver's side wheel, have the vehicle supported, and have the vehicle level. If you do not know how to take off a tire, you should not be doing a transmission fluid change. Looking past the tire, we are looking at the center of the screen. That is our fill plug. That's what we'll need to remove. Before removing, we're gonna go ahead and brush off the top to get rid of any dirt that might be near it. For your reference, my finger is on the fill plug. You can see how far my arm is in there. You can see it's a pretty long reach, but I'm right on the fill. 6mm Allen on an adjustable ratchet. I only have a stubby adjustable, so I'm gonna need a breaker bar behind it. I got the fill plug broke loose, but we're not yet fully gonna remove it. You can use a fluid transfer pump. I'm gonna use a funnel. AutoZone, $3. I had to add a hose. Total length needs to be 2 feet. I've had to cut my end too, so that way it'll fit in that fill hole. I have snaked the funnel down. The fill plug is removed. The funnel is inserted into the transmission fill hole. I leave the fill plug on while I'm inserting the funnel just so no dirt gets knocked down into it. And it's important we do this first so we know we can refill the transmission. Looking under the vehicle from the front. The passenger side, we have our oil drain plug. In the center is the PTU. And on the driver's side, located right there, is the transmission fluid drain plug. Now, if you have the Trailhawk, you'll have this steel protective engine shield. My last oil change, I went and I cut some grooves for my oil drains and for my oil filter to make this easily accessible. I'm assuming you change your own oil and you know how to remove this. 8mm Allen. Transmission fluid drain plug. I'm gonna unscrew this, let her drain into the pan. We are now draining the fluid. Here's our drain plug. It has a rubber O-ring kinda on it. Just make sure that's in good condition. Go ahead and wipe the surface of the drain hole. Reinstall your drain plug. I did not find an exact torque, but I will be using 25 foot-pounds. Hit that with a little brake cleaner to make leaks easier to detect. I've poured my fluid into a 1-gallon graduated measurer. Looking here and using the chart in the back, I can see that just over 3 1/4 quarts have come out. I'm gonna recycle that, fill this back up with fresh fluid, and that'll be what I'll be putting in. It's important to note that the vehicle sat overnight. The fluid is the same temperature as my new fluid. Transmission fluid expands and contracts with temperature changes. I'm using Valvoline Max Life Multi-Vehicle ATF today. If you go on the back of the side, it says to go to their website. You can put your car's information in, and it'll tell you recommended fluids for your vehicle. Furthermore, I went to their data sheet, and this is compatible with ZF fluid. ZF fluid is the original type of ATF that they put in the transmission at the factory. I bought this at Menards for $20. This is 1 gallon. That comes to $5 a quart. Don't get tricked into using Mopar 8-9-speed automatic transmission fluid. The cheapest I could find that was $25 for 1 quart on Rock Auto. So it's $25 a quart or it's $5 a quart. Do your research, there's a lot of information online on forums. I got my new fluid measured out. Make things easier, I'm gonna pour about half of this into one of my empty containers here, make it a little easier to pour. I am now going to begin refilling. I'll let that funnel drain for like 5 minutes. Got my fill plug back on. I'm just gonna snug her down a bit. Next, we need to get the transmission up to temperature. That can take 3 times longer than the engine. We're gonna go run some errands, probably a half hour of driving, a little bit of the highway. We'll come back. Now, if you're lucky enough to have the screen that shows your transmission temp, this will save you a ton of trouble. You can see we're sitting at 165. If not, a normal OBD2 code reader will not work. This only talks to the engine. We got to talk to the transmission. You're going to have something a little more power. Something that's going to be able to communicate with the transmission. You'll go to modules, and that's how you'll find out your transmission fluid temperature. This video is not about showing how to use all this. There are other videos out there, and through a little research, you'll be able to find something online if you don't have that. But hopefully you have the screen that shows transmission fluid temperature. You're going to need this dipstick. The dealer will charge you a lot. Got this on Amazon for $10. Search Jeep Renegade transmission fluid dipstick. Under the description, it'll say that this is compatible with transmission 948TE 9-speed. This is the temperature to fluid level chart we'll be using. As you see, as temperature increases, so does the fluid level. That's because transmission fluid expands. This is in Fahrenheit. There is a Celsius version online. If you search, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. All right, I just got back. We're gonna unscrew our fill plug, have a glove, take our dipstick. I can't show you this when I'm doing it. You're gonna take your arm and you're gonna hold like this. Go down and then twist up. And then you're gonna let it drop in. Pull it up, try not to touch the bottom. Flip it and bring it out. That hole is on an angle. That's gonna sit flush right against your top opening on the hole. Pull it out, and then we'll check it. We check the tranny level with the vehicle running. I'm wearing a glove. I'm removing the fill plug. I'm going to be inserting my dipstick. I'll check it twice. I'll use brake fluid cleaner to spray off the dipstick. It makes it a lot easier to see where that level is. If we're low, I'll turn the car off. I'll put the funnel back in. I'll add maybe half a quart of fluid. I think that came out to like maybe 10 millimeters. If you're 10 millimeters low. I'll turn the vehicle back on with my foot on the brake. I'll put it in reverse neutral drive, 3 seconds each, put it back in park. The vehicle don't have to move. Then I'll go ahead and check my level again, see where I'm at. Once we got a good level, then I'll put, that's about it. Put the fill plug back on. It's a lot easier to add more fluid than it is to have it overfilled and try to have to take fluid out. But that's about it. Also, if it's summertime, turn off your AC so that thing don't blow hot air at you the whole time. Just pulled the dipstick. Let's see, we're right about 25 on there. I've reinserted the fill plug. I'm gonna get her tight, and then I'm just gonna give her a little bit more with my helper here. So yeah, that's about it. I like to change my tranny fluid about every 50,000 miles. You may have noticed some wet surfaces on this Jeep. I did this same procedure yesterday. You only get about half the fluid out when you do it, so I want to get a little extra fresh stuff in there and to be able to make this video. There's another YouTube video on the internet where the guy uses the side plug as both his fill and his check. All the information I've found, that's incorrect. That would be how you do it for my cruise, but on this one you need the dipstick to get the correct level. He also gets fluid all over the poor lady's garage. Other than that, like and subscribe. If you got a question, leave a comment. Thank you.